People deluded, man. I'm your host with the most. I'm back again now. Um, I'm sure you've all seen the Arsenal news or Arsenal-related news. We're being linked with Carrasco, Denis Suarez, Barella seems to be going Chelsea, but allegedly we're still on it. Bare things are happening, and ultimately nothing by the same token is happening at Arsenal. So it'd be silly to talk about everything. But one headline that caught my eye is that Edu, our former player, former Brazilian midfielder, for those who don't know, could be returning to the club in some capacity. In regards to that capacity, we're unsure, but we have heard director of football. Apologies, people, as I scroll down. It's expected to be a director of football. Again, keyword is the role or the specifics of the role, or even if he's offered a role, it might not be a director of football. That is what's heavily being publicized or being spoken of. But a lot of people a lot of journalists that are doing their research say they actually don't know. It's just believed to have been that. He currently works as a technical director with the Brazilian national team, where he closely coordinates with the head coach Tete of Brazil. Now, for me, if he's a director of football, I'm not really sure how a director of football at Arsenal would work. Of course, ultimately, there's a director of football, and I do think it could do a lot of good. And Unai is essentially a head coach now, so there isn't much he can do about off-field matters, and he has to deal with conflicting opinions. It can be difficult as a manager dealing with, I don't think, just to make an example, you've got Raul Sanye, who's in charge of contracts and helps sanction and veto transfers you want, as you've seen with Benega, Mislintat bringing in players for better or worse, and then you'd obviously have another opinion that's stronger than yours in potentially Edu, so that's three figureheads on top of everybody else, so it can, I wouldn't say they'll undermine him, I don't think they would, but if I was a manager and I put myself in his shoes, it is difficult, but he's worked in similar structures at PSG and Seville before, and you can't really have any complaints, and that's me reaching. The bit that excites me now is you got to read between the lines. Raul Sanjay, now I'm not suggesting Arsenal by any stretch of the imagination is going to be able to sign, I would love it to be true, but sign the next Neymar and these emerging Brazilian talents. But I see this as something that is strategic in strengthening our South American foothold. Why? Raul Sanjay has done a lot of good work in South America, especially when it helps to tie down endorsement deals and bringing in South American-based players to Barcelona. Neymar, the best example. You'd like to think that will continue at Arsenal. Ironically, we're linked with a lot of South American talents, which can be hard for us to obtain because of obviously work permit laws. Now, if Edu is he's obviously Brazilian. He's got a wealth of knowledge working as a technical director with the Brazil national team from all age groups. So essentially, he is a walking database of players, whether they be publicized players that we all know, or unknown players, or players that have potential to move to Europe and do a good thing, but they're under the radar. This can be of benefit to Arsenal, obviously, if we're working under financial constraints at this club and we can't go for certain money, go spend certain money on certain players. So I see this as a strategic strengthening of our operations in South America. Again, I'm just a fan speculating, but I see you see Milata, I can't say his name, the Porto lad, he can play fullback, DM and centre half. You see Bordeaux once had Malcolm and they made decent money off him. Obviously, Arthur is a special case, but Guillermo had Arthur, and you're seeing a lot of several Brazilian talents that the Ukrainians in Shakhtar Donetsk, even Roma to a degree, and a couple other clubs are taking advantage of, and we're not. Again, work permit issues and things like that could make it hard, so I'm looking at it through a lot of rose tints, but you get the point in it, people. If we're really, I feel there's a lot of markets where we're really untapping. The French market and all of them things, they're well publicized. Our issue then in European markets, better yet, is not identifying targets, it's just getting deals done. Again, work permit issues can be an issue, but you look at areas such as South America, and I'd say Eastern Europe as well, specifically probably Serbia, because Serbia got a lot of good talents. They won the Under-20 World Cup, they've got a young squad already, to be fair. Milinkovic-Savic is wanted by big clubs, he's not really at that level, but you get the point. Milankovic, I can't say his name, the centre half as well. There's a lot of talented Serbian players, and Benfica utilised that market to their degree, to the best as well. Now, if we could go Serbia and find a Vidic or a Matic or someone like that Benfica are able to do and save us a few bob, and maybe potentially if they develop and the time comes, sell them all for profit, so be it. But for me anyway, South America, Eastern Europe, and a couple other examples of areas that we specifically need to target. So yeah, man, if he is gonna join, he's gonna join, in it. As for the specific role, we'll see. Just a quick word before I go on Ben Knapper's promotion. Allegedly, you've all seen it. He's our new loans manager, or in charge of players' loans. I wouldn't say he's in charge because I don't think he is from a footballing basis. Clearly, that's Mertesacker. He's head of youth development, so it's his job to obviously oversee the development of the players that are with from Hayland to London Coley, and also to keep an eye on the players that are on loan and things like that. Ben Naper's job is you've got to look at it. He's risen through the ranks and it's been great. He comes from a more data analyst background and a more analytical background. He used to work for Prozone. He was a data analyst at this club. So you can imagine, if we read between the lines and he's the loan manager, him with several teams, or if he does get a team or internal members, will be able to collate data in regards to our loan players' progress, their statistics, their analytical data and things like that. So we can get a better statistical viewing of their improvement or their progress being made, I guess. Now, this could be completely wrong, but that's just how I would look at it, innit? I don't know no one connected with Arsenal. I definitely don't know Ben Naper, but nice to see he gets a promotion. It's nice to see. It's ultimately nice to see people get rewarded that have been at this club for a while, get rewarded into good positions. So yeah, man, that's all I wanted to say, really and truly. But back to Edu. In short, if it means we can strengthen our South American foothold and things like that, it'd be good, man. And I'd actually like us to probably. It can't be done, but you've got to look at the nations like Senegal and countries like that where players go to the likes of Mets and things like that to get around work permit issues, because these are you look at the Manes, probably the Ismail Assars to a certain degree. Koulibaly, he obviously is not from Senegal, but in fact he is from Senegal. Koulibaly, once upon a time. These are the sort of markets we need to utilise, and we did with the Ivory Coast, but we need to utilise markets again, because we can't go for these targets and things to a degree. But I've got nothing more to add, so I'm going to get out of your hair. On that note, though, people, deluded, subscribe, like the vid, and do the rest. Thank you for viewing. I'm out.